welcome to a special virtual and video recorded edition of our listening session. We are Synaptic Island, a collective of DJs and creative practitioners. We have been running DJ workshops, open decks and listening sessions at Corsica Studios since 2018. Synaptic Island has also run listening sessions with organisations including Wising Polyphonic Festival, Chapter Gallery Cardiff and Sight Gallery in Sheffield. We currently host a weekly radio show on Resonance FM. The listening session is a workshop that revolves around a theme selected by Synaptic Island. We ask participants to bring a selected track in response to our theme. During the listening session, we listen to each track and share thoughts and ideas in reference to the music and theme. So tonight's theme is ghosts, and over the next hour you will hear hypnotic echoes, uncanny voices, melancholy machines, cultural nostalgia, haunted technology, lost memories and their retrieval and reanimation. With us tonight we have Poppy M, Shamika, Sylvia, Finn, Ali and myself, Poppy T. So who would like to begin by playing their track?
This is always the silent bit.
Is that me, isn't it?
I think we dropped you in it, Shamika.
I think someone's into it.
Okay,
Shamika, you should start.
Yeah, I'm gonna play. Should I intro it? Yeah, I guess so. This is. No, perhaps I should just play it and then.
Cool.
I'll say what it is.
Let's have a listen.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, so it's the one called Solomon's Theme.
Solomon's Theme.
That's Solomon's Theme, which is from the soundtrack for Atlantics. Don't know if anyone recognised it. Atlantics, a film by Matty Diop, and essentially it's like a ghost love story. It's yeah, I guess it's a story around Ada and her lover Solomon, who I guess they like promise themselves to each other, and then one night, Solomon flees basically to try and make Europe, and then drowns. I don't know if I'm ruining this for everyone, but essentially drowns, and then like comes back, and so it's like him and the workers works in this, I think it's like a factory at the site. They all decide to go overnight. They all drown, and then they come back and like possess the bodies of I can't remember who. And I think this is from the point in the film as well where they're looking out onto the sea, and it's like the night before they're like due to make this escape. And yeah, I just feel like this is like the whole. I think could have picked the whole soundtrack basically, like the whole. It's all like very like evocative of this sort of like haunting, quite. I don't know. There's something happening, something not quite happening, something lingering, quite like what you know. I don't know. So yeah, I just thought that was quite. And I also was thinking as well like, around ideas of haunting, and just I guess the relation, in terms of like drowning in the sea and like to like migration and like the Mediterranean, but also thinking a lot about how like cycles of history, and I guess like similar sort of things that were happening in the Atlantic during like the days of like slavery and stuff. So yeah, it was also like that came to mind as well. But yeah, so basically that was why I picked that, and that's what that was.
When was the piece of music made? Do you know? When was the film made?
I think I want to say this is quite recent. I want to say 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
What was the
Really
film?
recent.
Sorry, Shamika.
Atlantics by Mati Diop, and then Fatima Al-Qadari is I didn't never said that. Did the score for it?
I thought it was Fatima Al-Qadari. I couldn't tell, but yeah, I thought maybe it was.
I wrote down on my piece of paper in big letters, crime investigation.
Yeah, it's got that's like cinematic, isn't it? Yeah. There's like a tension to it.
Yeah, a bit of danger.
Yeah,
slow danger. Yeah.
I thought there was something almost like cheesy about the like a reverb string kind of synth sound, not in a bad way, in kind of a nostalgic way, which also fits in nicely to the theme of like haunting and ghosts.
Yeah, it's like very like all the music we're gonna play tonight is probably very mood. That's got a mood to it, right?
Yeah, and it's like an imitation of something almost, isn't it? It's like imitating it sounded like a harpsichord, or not really, I don't know, but yeah, they sound like
I mean it's like, am I right, in like cinema and like movies, like strings are like the main thing that gives a mood. I mean, most of the time you use strings, am I right?
Or like I guess like an orchestra, like a string orchestra. Quite I think there's something in terms of like the presence of that and the way that when it all comes, I don't know, it's quite I don't know what it's about strings. It's kind of like the go-to thing, isn't it?
I was gonna say I was just gonna say, like, I feel like with like Fatima Al-Qadari, like knowing Fatima Al-Qadari's like work, it feels like the use of strings in this context would be like really deliberate, like as a kind of like device, like as a kind of cinematic tool. I've not seen the film, so like I can't say for sure, but like, you know, just in the context of the things that you were saying, Shamika, and like I don't know, invoking this kind of like deliberate sort of like emotional response that comes with that style of kind of soundtracking, like, and I don't know, because I've not seen the film. I'd be kind of...
it's a very beautiful film. And I was going to say as well, like, I think that the instrument that maybe she used in this might even be like this African instrument where you have these very echoey sounds on the strings, because it's like with this kind of like very dome shape. But I mean that is very much like her sound in general as well. She uses always this kind of like echo thing throughout all of her songs. But really good choice.
Cool. Who wants to go next?
Should I go?
Yeah.
All right. So select Dancing Ghosts, the first one on the list.
Okay. See you in a bit.
See you in a bit, people.
Guys, I don't know how long you want to listen to it. Let me know.
Forever. I guess we should come back. So good.
It's building up, isn't it? It's
building up.
You could go until the end.
I was getting into that.
Yeah, me too. It's a good track.
I wanted to put my background on from like outside of Corsica because it kind of almost felt like what you'd hear before you like walked into like it was like building up like as you walk towards the club, and then like I was waiting for the doors open and then you're like in the room. And
yeah, maybe we should keep it as a background.
Exactly, that's exactly what I felt as well. The sound is all the better, the tunes are all the better from just outside the club. You haven't been satiated yet. Is that the right word? Satiated? No, sorry.
Sated.
Slated.
Sated.
Sated. What does that mean?
Sated. That means satisfied.
Oh wow! I've never heard that before. Before you get sated.
Why did you choose the track, Sylvia?
Oh, should we stop? Okay.
Yeah.
So you might remember or not, but I already played that track at the first one that we did at Corsica Studio actually, because it just fits so well with the theme, and it just like sums up basically everything I think, kind of thing. So that was a track. It's from 1985. So I chose it because I really like it, but also because there's a whole story with it that I quite like. Because it's I was aware of that track when I listened to an interview with Chris and Cozy. Sorry, did I say it's Chris and Cozy, Dancing Ghost from 1985. But this one is the remix by Cartier Tutti Vod, which is Chris and Cozy, but like a little bit later. And so, yeah, they did that interview before a gig that they were giving in 2015. And they talk about that track and they say how it was made. And also they explain how at the time it would take them not so long to make tracks, like 2 or 3 days or something like that. And so this track, they made it as a friend house in an abandoned mill in the countryside. And they explained that they thought it was haunted, maybe that there was a presence there, because lots of things happened, like weird stuff, like lights going on and off, the lift that wasn't working well, like things were just moving. So I really like that. I really like that they composed that track and they were trying to emulate like a presence, you know, and that works really well. I mean, it's like, I don't know, this track is also like, it's quite, I don't know, it's quite naive also. And I don't know, I like how it's a presence that builds up and then suddenly, you know, it's in the background, but suddenly the ambient sound just like goes foreground, and just like you're just overwhelmed by like the sound of it. Yeah, and I really like when the recordings have I don't know, it's like a time and a place, you know, like when you record something and there's something in the background or there's something that makes it here and now. I really like that. Sorry, I carry on, but so listening to this track again, that also reminded me of an interview I saw from Andrew Weatherall, you know, who died recently, and he was speaking about something else. He was speaking how when you have all those, so he was really into rock, like, you know, garage rock and things like that, like, you know, super lo-fi, like local bands and stuff like that. And he was saying how some recording of that era have a quality to it, basically because people would record their music in the same room, and, you know, it would go really fast. And so you can hear the room around them and it's all quite lo-fi, but it gives a kind of ghostly quality to it because there's an echo, there's a dub to it. And so I really like that. I really like that idea that a track can just be like a time and place thing, and it can be like that, you know, so haunted basically, you know, that he has another dimension to it. And I think that's how I like, that's some of my favorite tracks. They have like a tint to it, and you can feel the time and space, you know. So yeah.
I can tell you love that track. You've got some good stuff to say about it. It's amazing. It kind of I was feeling, you know, when you're really enjoying something, because obviously, as you said, it does take you to a particular time and place, and maybe we are all, I mean, I don't know what everyone's thinking, but it was mentioned before, being outside a club, you know, and not quite being with the sound just yet, the anticipation you get before entering a space, and maybe our mind is just naturally going there. Obviously, we have to remember as well, this is going to be broadcasted within a club, so in some ways we will be satisfied virtually, but yeah, it's like it's quite a formulaic track in a way, and when that kind of bass comes in, I didn't actually get to the bit where it you said it gets louder. I didn't actually get there, so I'm gonna
or it's just the sound, one of the sound get louder, it gets on top of each other. First there's the rhythm, and then the ambient, you know, like the long layered ambient thing just like comes in the foreground, and then you just, you know.
I love that when people play around with you getting used to something, because I just bought a new phone, and I know this is a bit boring, but you can't even see it because my green
it's in the grass,
but it's not playing music at the same volume that my last phone was. And I've been walking around the last 2 days listening to music at this slightly lower volume, but I was thinking in my head, you know what, I'll just get used to it, and loud will eventually become loud. It will all become relative, but it's so amazing when music plays around.
You just it makes you adjust. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So good.
I also really like this thing of like the like environmental constraints influencing the sound of a track, and I think that that's something that's really nice about like the story that you told about this Chris and Cozy track, is that like there's like an imprint of like the environment like in the sound that was made, or like in the music that was made, and I think that's really like there's something about that that's like really poetic, like the fact that like that particular time and place can now kind of travel through time and space, like using like that music as like a kind of carrier or vehicle, and also it's just it's a banger.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, definitely.
Do Chris and Cozy have something to do with Throbbing Gristle? Is that, have I made?
Oh yeah, they were part of them. I mean, I'm not, you know, as some people know it so well. Like I don't even want to get there, but yeah, definitely. Okay. Like I think so. Basically, Chris was making the beats. Cozy was making lots of things like vocals, playing instruments and things like that. So, and I think Chris Carter was like, you know, just making his own machines. Like they would experiment a lot. And obviously there's Genesis, who died, you know, quite recently, actually. God damn, you remember Poppy? That was like the last show that we'd done at Resonance before we went into the pandemic. That didn't even happen because we recorded a whole show that never happened. You remember that?
Yeah.
The choral one. And then the technician went crazy on, I don't know what happened, but then, you know, it was all a failure. And we were like, oh my God, this is not happening.
Were you going to play it on that show?
Yeah, we were going to play like the whole show choral, and then instead that was Johnny Trunk that just behind us. You know, they just played a show of that, or he went just like noise, or it was weird.
Wait, I'm so confused. What? Then you recorded the show and then there was no show?
Yeah.
There was no, yeah. So me and Poppy went to the studio to record choral, which happened like way after. And so you remember Julian, and I can't remember what the other guy name was. You know, he was so sweet. Anyway, so like it just went. They just had a problem, so it didn't work. It didn't work at all. So we were like, oh, that's not working. So, but anyway, this day Genesis died. That's so weird. So I just connected it. It's just connected in my head. So weird. And I don't want to get spooky, but no, I'll just
get spooky. No, dude.
Get spooky.
I get spooky. Do you
right theme for it?
No, it's weird because maybe I have a connection. You know, when you have weird connection with thing, right? So you're never gonna believe it's weird. Before I get into the building, I bump into a guy in the street, and he just like, we almost bumped into each other. And he turned and looked at me, and he had really, really blue eyes. But so I don't know if you remember Genesis eyes, but they were really similar. It's so weird. It's so,
Oh, I believe in that.
so it's all connected, right? So I'm talking about that tonight. Anyway.
We have about 9-ish minutes left of this half, so maybe we should move on
Yay.
to the next track. Who's next?
Yeah.
I could go on to mine, but mine's quite long. But that's
Go.
okay. We can listen to like 4 or 5 minutes of it. Please, let's try and listen to 5 minutes of it or something like that. Yeah, 4.5. Okay, it's in the Google Drive. It's Deep England. See you soon. Yeah, so that last track was Deep England by Gazelle Twin and NYX, which is a choir. I'm just learning about these two, not people, because NYX is a choir and Gazelle Twin. Gazelle Twin has been staring me in the face for a long time, though for some reason I haven't engaged, and I've always meant to. But I was listening to BBC Radio 6 the other night because my friend's music was playing, and I don't usually listen to BBC Radio 6 because I think that I don't like a lot of stuff on there sometimes. But suddenly this came on and I was like, what? So this, anyway, there's a bit of text that goes with it. It goes, "Here lies our ancient future, deep England, our hope and compassion in the chokehold of power and glory. Hand in hand, here we cry our rage, summoning a lament into the ether, a divine androgynous force, a transcendental purge of the dizzying chaos of post-truth Britain." And that is a statement, I guess, made by Gazelle Twin and NYX. Together they form an electronic drone choir, and this was released very recently, and it's from the album, which I think is called
Deep England.
Oh, is it called Deep England? I thought it was called Pastoral, but I think I'm looking at completely.
It's an old one, I think.
Ah, okay. Thanks, Sylvia.
Might be, yeah.
Yeah. And I watched just before, and so NYX is an electronic drone choir and otherworldly, eclectic chorus re-embodying live electronics and extended vocal techniques. Before a little listening session, I watched because I was interested to see what the live performance was. And no doubt it was quite a spectacle, but also very simple as well. Some people crowded around a table with sort of red shrouds and very kind of simple light changing. lights changing, and of course the live performance is no doubt it's different every time. It's got to be. There's so many components to it, and there's so many people involved. But the reason I chose it for this is, well, firstly, I heard it the other day and I thought it slotted in nicely with Ghosts, but also yeah, there's something eerie about it. It kind of reminds me of, like, oh, my image just inverted, like corpse frogs, and there's these ominous kind of constants through it again and again, like that. That just does something to me. Anything that like retains that sort of like constant power and force again and again is very, very untrustworthy. And it's just a very twisted environment. And they also use a way to describe it as ancient futures, which is a beautiful paradox, very mislodged and very lonely. And yeah, I was just very impressed by it. And yeah, what did you guys think of it?
There's kind of... Oh, go on, Poppy.
No,
you go.
I was literally just going to say that I thought that the vocals were like top notch, so I'm not surprised that they were done by like a professional choir. All I was going to say, it was really, the harmonies were really beautiful.
Yeah.
I wonder as well, like using because I think like a lot of them are using vocal modulators, which as you know I really enjoy using as well. But I also think that people have this ability to make much more freer, unusual sounds when they have any sort of like effect on their voice. It's like they feel, I don't know, like they're a different version. Even when I have a microphone, I feel like I'm a different version of myself, like more empowered and more willing to be strange or something.
I mean, especially her. I don't know if you like heard some of her other track, like Gazelle Twin, but she's what I really like about her. She's not precious about her voice, so she's gonna make really like demonic, like scary things, but without caring. You know what I mean? Like without being like, oh, I want to be a lady, or I don't know, like a girl or whatever. She's like she's going for it. So I was even wondering if it was just her twisting her voice, but then it makes so much sense that it's a multi-voice thing.
Almost like the moment you are able to detach yourself from like the you know, the least the like the more it starts to not sound like you, the attached you become to it, the more it's like the more other your voice feels to you, like the further you can go with it. Like, as a technique within working with like vocal modulation, just generally like effects on the voice.
It's such a mask.
I guess,
mask.
I was gonna say, like, I guess it definitely has like an uncanny effect, but it's also like, it's interesting that you said that you feel more kind of confident or like powerful, because it, like, you know, like a microphone is like an extension of the body, like in the way that like maybe like a costume is, or like a puppet or something like that. I don't know, the image that jumps right into my mind is like, you know, Arca using those like stilts like in her performances, how there is like an uncanny effect in that as well, in those costumes that she wears, which is like really evocative, but also, I don't know, I find it quite uncanny because she moves in a kind of like more like non-human kind of way, just because the stilts are like literally changing her posture and making her move in a way that is, you just don't normally move as human. And but it's also I think it's empowering. It empowers her in the performance.
I've had false, like quite long false nails about 3 or 4 times in my life, and when I get them, I talk to people like this, and and I'll just do everything differently, like turn the pages differently, and it's like my hands, they've become these things, and that's what you made me think about that, Poppy, when you were talking about Arca, and a slight kind of shift or an accentuation of a certain part of you. It has a domino effect. It changes everything. But I guess that's where we got to from Gazelle Twin, which is cool.
I was just gonna say that the sounds really reminded me of, I don't know if anyone else, this is someone who was like a massive influence on me when I was like at foundation level, but like Maya Deren, her films.
No, I need to watch that.
Is that the Meshes in the Afternoon one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What is it?
So she made these like really early kind of surreal films in like, I actually don't know when it was, but I think it's like the 30s maybe, like sort of like early sort of DIY cinema really. And Meshes of the Afternoon is this like really surreal film where this woman is being kind of chased in this quite like Mediterranean landscape, like by this cloaked figure, and every time that this cloaked figure appears in the film, there's this like sound, which is exactly the same as the sound that's in that track. So I feel like if that's not a deliberate reference point, that's quite spooky.
Oh, that remind me, about all the how do you say, old masses and things like that, like, what is it, the Kubrick one, Eyes Wide Shut. You got chanting at some point. That sounds just like that.
Definitely. I was going to say as well that I definitely sort of thought there's like a lot of meditative kind of like slow chants, deep chants kind of vibe with that, and it made me actually think a bit about Shamika's track as well, about how Shamika's track is influenced by the environment, the sea, the land, in that way. And then this song that you just played as well has that kind of like this history of the landscape. There is a sense of like so much history and time passing within how the vocals are structured. Really good, nice, very haunting.
I love what they say about it as well. A post-truth England. It's it's an ancient future. So who is next?
I feel like I'd like to play my track next because I really loved your track, Finn, but it kind of made me want to go to sleep.
We need to.
I've got a very lively track. Got two. Well, no, one lively, one sleepy.
I've got mix it up. I've got a lively one, so I could play mine, and then maybe Ali, you could play yours. Are you?
Sounds good.
Heading off, Shamika. Should we say
I was gonna,
goodbye, Shamika?
Bye, Shamika.
We'll do it live.
Catch you soon.
I'm saying goodbye.
We lost one. Okay. So what was yours, Poppy?
So the track that I want to play is, I think it's pronounced Chems by Burial.
Nice. Oh yeah, I had this on earlier. Cool. So we see you afterwards. Bye, guys. Oh yeah.
Kind of. I would recommend like fading out about 6 minutes.
6 minutes. Cool.
Yeah.
See you then.
Oh.
Don't know what I'd do if I would lose you now. Don't know what I'd do if I would lose you now. I'm so addicted to you now. Just can't explain what I feel when I'm around you, baby. Can't understand what I feel when I'm around you, baby. Never really felt what I feel when I'm around you, baby. I can't deny what I feel when I'm around you, baby. I feel alright when I'm around you. Just can't explain what I feel when I'm around you, baby. Just can't explain what I feel when I'm around you, baby. Can't understand what I feel when I'm around you, baby. I feel alright when I'm around you. Can't explain what I feel when I'm around you, baby. Just can't explain what I feel when I'm around you, baby. Can't understand what I feel when I'm around you, baby. Can't you see? I will never let you go. Just can't explain what I feel when I'm around you, baby. Can't understand what I feel when I'm around you, baby. Never really felt what I feel when I'm around you, baby. I can't deny what I feel when I'm around you, baby. I feel all high when I'm around you. Can't explain what I feel when I'm around you, baby. Just can't explain what I feel when I'm around you, baby. Can't understand what I feel when I'm around you, baby. I feel all high. Don't know what I'd do if I would lose you. Don't know what I'd do if I would lose you. I'm so addicted to you. Don't know what I'd do if I would lose you. Don't know what I'd do if I would lose you. I'm so addicted to you. I'm so addicted to you. Can't you see? I will never let you go. Never really felt what I feel when I'm around you, baby. I can't deny what I feel when I'm around you, baby. I feel all high when I'm around you. Just can't explain what I feel when I'm around you, baby. I feel all high when I'm around you. Can't explain what I feel when I'm around you, baby. Just can't explain what I feel when I'm around you, baby. Can't understand what I feel when I'm around you, baby. I feel all high when I'm around you. Can't explain what I feel when I'm around you, baby. Just can't explain what I feel when I'm around you, baby. Can't understand what I feel when I'm around you, baby. Just can't explain what I feel when I'm around you, baby. Can't understand what I feel when I'm around you, baby. Never really felt what I feel when I'm around you, baby. I can't deny what I feel when I'm around you, baby. I feel all high when I'm just can't explain what I feel when I'm around you, baby. Can't you see? I'm so addicted to love. 'Cause I am so in love with you, 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 so in love with you. Can't you see? I will never let you go.
Yes, yes.
All good?
Explain, Poppy T. What have you done to us?
Well, I have been listening to this track a lot over the last few months. I came to it a bit late, and I've also come to Burial quite late, to be honest. I never really, like, I kind of got what he was about, but I never really, I probably read more about Burial than I like minutes of music that I'd listened to. And it's really interesting because it's really like up my street, but I never really, it was a bit like Gazelle Twin maybe with you, Finn.
Yeah.
But I like my boyfriend was playing it when we were just like in the house together, and I was like, what is this? And then I've just been listening to it on repeat. It's like getting me out of bed in the morning. It's getting me to write for an hour longer than I would.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's very like motivating. It feels like very nostalgic and euphoric. And I guess that's what Burial is kind of all about. Like, I have a Mark Fisher quote.
We're so Mark Fisher,
Like always.
aren't we?
Yeah.
Mark Fisher. I've got a nice quote. It's a really nice quote because he has written extensively on Burial. So I will find it. So this is from his K-punk. Is it K-punk?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is from K-punk, his K-punk blog, and it says, listening to Burial as I walk through the damp, drizzly South London streets in this abortive spring, it strikes me that the LP is very London now. I guess London probably almost 10 years ago, I guess. Which is to say, it suggests a city haunted not only by the past, but by lost futures. It seems to have less to do with the near future than with the tantalizing ache of a future just out of reach. And I actually feel like that's very current and poignant, because I keep listening to it and just wishing that I was like out dancing, because we are all in lockdown. But also, yeah, it goes way deeper than that, because I guess like Burial's music evokes this kind of nostalgia and melancholy and kind of loss, but also like kind of feelings of like comfort and like introspection, maybe. What else was I gonna say? But yeah. And I guess, I mean, Mark Fisher writes about it a lot as like an example of kind of music hauntology, a term which I still like find slightly confusing, but I kind of I can see why it is an example of hauntology, but yeah, the actual definitions kind of confuses me a bit. Anyway, that's what I have to say.
I feel like all the best things are a bit confusing. It's like you get them in a second and then they just slip away from you. I also feel like with that track, yeah, it's like what you were saying, Poppy, it's nostalgia, but also it's like it's double wham nostalgia, isn't it? And I would go as far to say even 3 times nostalgic because of COVID-19 as well. you're listening to music that you grew up with, and then additionally Burial always sets you outside in the woods looking through the window pane in at like a warm image, do you know what I mean, that you can't get into as well. And then also it's COVID and we're here in a virtual space as well, so there's like, yeah, I was feeling kind of triple nostalgia from it, and it's uncomfortable but it's really nice as well.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, I don't know if this has been written or I've heard people say it, but like I've heard it described as like Burial's music is like the music that you listen to when you're on your own on the way home from like
Yes.
you've left a party or a rave or whatever, and you're like on the bus on the way home and you're kind of like alone and you're in that like kind of like emotional introspective like space, and yeah, I mean it obviously it strikes a chord with a lot of people, I think. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I guess since I knew his kind of main tracks, but since then I've been listening to like a lot of like mixes on YouTube, so maybe I'll be getting it more into Burial for the first time about 10 years late.
Yeah,
No problem.
that's good.
It's never too late.
Yeah.
Yeah, his use of sampling is also really related to the theme as well. Like, yeah,
it's really interesting. Like Finn, my boyfriend, played like another track. I don't know where I think it was from the same. It may have got released recently, or it may have just been like somewhere on YouTube. But it had this one vocal sample in it. I was like, oh my god, what is that from? And then we looked it up, and then it was like from "You Are Beautiful" by Christina Aguilera, and it's just this like one vocal like kind of ad lib that she does, and it was so I knew that I recognized it, but I didn't know what it's from. With the internet, it's really easy to look up these things.
That's so smart, though, isn't it? That's so smart to take not the most like famous bit of a very famous track and use that. That really triggers a part of your mind, doesn't it? Which is
it makes it really obvious like how what subconscious level like these like devices hit. you know, like it makes that really evident, because otherwise you're just completely unaware of the way in which like sound is constantly influencing the way that you understand the world. And like when someone is able to kind of like, I think that's what's like really amazing about like some of Burial stuff, is like he kind of like cuts out those like little moments that you're not paying attention to, but that like hit home on like a kind of psychoacoustic level and like invoke these kind of emotional reactions, and like highlights that in like a really kind of like obvious or like way.
Devious,
yeah.
Devious.
Exactly. Outlaw.
Is it time to what's going on?
I think it's me and Ali.
Ali, I think that's
Are we going too fast or are we going too slow?
I honestly,
perfect.
I feel like maybe we could do a couple more tracks and then leave it there. What do you reckon?
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm feeling a few more tracks.
Yeah.
Cool.
I can go, or do you want to go, Ali?
I could go.
Okay.
Oh, we have Ali and Poppy. Oh, wicked, yeah.
So we could go for, on my list, we go for the second one, I think. I'm not sure. Yeah, go for the second one.
All right.
Second.
And then we'll talk about it afterwards.
All right. See you soon, guys.
Okay.
Bye.
love that.
Yeah, that was good.
The video was like intense.
I loved the video. It was so good.
The video is really good, right?
So you guys have been watching videos.
Yeah, it was good.
Ah.
Did you not get it?
I haven't been watching any videos. Whoopsies.
That was part of it. That was definitely like
Yeah. It
like a
definitely helped.
whole.
Yeah.
I've been watching you all.
Oh.
I've been watching
Yeah.
you watch videos.
I thought of Poppy when she wanted to do her opening ceremony as her background as well, looking at that video with the fireworks that are in time with the beats. I was like, oh, let's try and get that in somehow.
The lighting is beautiful throughout. So yeah, we should tell
It's
people actually like Ali.
Watch the video.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a video that goes with the track.
Yeah, because
And
it's
it
so
looks
intense.
amazing. It's like a succession of loops of images, you would
Yeah,
say, like
exactly.
small actions back to back to back. But the colors are so beautiful that it's kind of mesmerizing.
It's stunning. Yeah, it's literally amazing.
No, it's a good video. It's very simple as well. It's just like lots and lots of loops.
Yeah,
of the
that's
same
amazing
thing.
how it works well. That's what I
over
was
and over.
thinking. Yeah, how
But yeah,
simple
so-
it was, but efficient.
So that was by this Portuguese band. They're from Porto. They're called I don't know whether it's HHY and the Macumbas or High and the Macumbas. And that was released back in 2018 on an LP called Beheaded Totem. And I chose that
Cool.
because when we're thinking about ghosts, I was thinking about voodoo and trances and sort of invoking spirits and this kind of like hypnotic beats that kind of take you to this kind of other plane. So that's why I chose that track, to kind of think a little bit about that aspect of kind of communing with other worlds, and how we kind of suspend reality by listening to these very intense, very chaotic rhythms. So I definitely much prefer the kind of first half of the track, I guess, as well. I find the kind of second half with the trumpets a little bit jarring, but
I quite like
really
the
like.
trumpets.
You like the trumpets?
I do.
Well, it's good, but I like that it's got this kind of like old, like traditional kind of music mixed with this very like newer sound, these like dub beats, and I think we've heard that quite a lot throughout this listening session as well, which is, I think, really nice, this kind of melting of these different times of sounds together. So that's what I played.
I loved it. Also in the middle or near the end, I couldn't tell whether it was the sound outside my house. Does it cuts out, right? And it cuts into the sound of the street and a siren.
Yeah, on the video
happens.
version that happens, but on
If
the
I
LP
was-
version that doesn't happen. But
Right.
but we've all played the YouTube link. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like car screeching and like sirens or something.
Yeah, I feel like that has happened a lot this evening as well. Yeah, I feel like the street has sort of been dropped into several tracks this evening. Maybe not. I mean, I know Barry always does that, so maybe I was just thinking about that, but I'm sure the track Shamika played first was doing that as well. Anyway, maybe I'm just trying to pull up like weird coincidences because everyone's been talking about spooky things tonight.
No, I had an inside outside track, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to have time to play
Oh, you
it.
will.
Oh no, you will.
Oh,
you
you
will.
will.
No, it's in
Yeah.
I've got another track that I'm gonna play. But yeah, my second track, my backup, is very inside outside.
There we go, another coincidence.
That's the theme, isn't it?
It is. Ghosts. Yes. Woo.
Do you want to go for your track?
So there you
Poppy?
go. I mean, I just wanted to say like we were speaking at the beginning, are we gonna have loops in it? And I think that was, the loop thing, which is funny because it's what is it broken? Is it something? And it's like at the beginning you're into it, but at the end you're like, when is it gonna finish? And you just become a little bit uneasy. I always like when it kind of does that,
I wonder as well with that track we just listened to, there was like a kind of, there was like the main features of sound through it, but then beyond that there was a kind of, it sounded like a stick on wood instrument, like a wooden instrument, but it felt very small, and it felt like it kept slipping out. I don't know if that was just because of repetition, but I think if it was slipping out, then something was probably slipping out somewhere. And I love that. It reminded me like a tiny bit of Golden Teacher, who I absolutely love. And I know that they do slip out their rhythms, and suddenly you're somewhere else and you don't even know how you got there. But yeah, there was something about it that reminded me of that.
I really like that part of the song as well, because it kind of just makes it sound like it's quite desperate to kind of like keep up with the pace.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
So I think like my track actually follows on from Ali's quite well, in that it's like what you said, Ali, about like how music can kind of act as like a kind of carrier for like messages, or like how different sounds kind of like, or like references to like ritual can kind of carry these kind of messages through time and space. I think my track kind of follows on from that. So it's the DJ Spooky one.
Cool.
So first one on the dock.
Lovely. Okay, see you guys after.
Yeah.
Originals.
Are we back?
Yes, that was good. Thank you.
Yeah. So I think I actually played this in the Phantom radio show when we did it for Resonance. But I thought I'd just play it again because it fits so perfectly with the theme. And yeah, that's a track called No Return, which is by DJ Spooky, aka Paul D. Miller. from an album called Phantom Dancehall. And yeah, I have a few notes about DJ Spooky, but one of the first things I wanted to say is like, I think when you listen to that track, if you're like familiar with like dub or dancehall, like you immediately hear all of the ghosts, like you immediately hear all of those kind of like references and like but yeah, he's a composer, multimedia artist, writer whose work immerses audiences in a blend of genres, global culture, and environmental and social issues. And he's published books and made films and obviously makes music. And this album is a mashup of loads of different genres that trace the kind of legacy or influence or phantom of Jamaican dancehall through music and through various different genres. And yeah, I guess like, as I was sort of saying before, like dub and dancehall carry within themselves as musical styles, like these sounds that act as kind of signs or signifiers or codes that can kind of carry messages through time and space. And I also thought that it felt appropriate to kind of reference the sound system, given that we are, in a virtual exhibition.
In a club.
Yeah.
A virtual exhibition club.
Yeah. So yeah.
I guess like the dub echo always sounds quite spooky to me.
Yeah, it's like, it's haunting, I think. Like I mean, like the dub echo is like an innovation in terms of like the technology of music, you know, that has had this has had this kind of legacy and influence which can never be underestimated. And I think that that goes for both dub and dancehall, you know, like and like particularly dancehall, you know, like the influence of dancehall on like popular music is just, I mean, it's hard to even put it into words.
Massive,
because it's and it's completely, you know, well, not completely, but like often goes really uncredited, you know. And
I've always felt like the dub echo, but particularly the dub echo is like a kind of hats off to the past, but in a very quick moment. And I hadn't really thought about that until you guys were just talking about it, and it made me realize that it does feel like that actually. It's a very quick moment, but it's like a kind of a hats off moment, I think, or an appreciation or something, or this
recognition.
Yeah, exactly. A recognition of where you are now in
where you've come from.
Exactly. There's a path to it.
It's an echo, you know.
Literally.
It's you know, it's like a reflection. It's an
echo is always an impressive thing. I'm sure I went for a walk with you, Poppy, and there was an echo somewhere and you were really excited. You were like, wow. Where's it coming from? Wow. Like,
because it's like the echo is like, just experiencing like an echo is like experiencing yourself in space. Like it's something that doesn't really happen that often.
That's so cool.
It's just like, wow, okay, I'm a body, and like these surfaces are like, it's like a really kind of like phenomenological experience, you know, like and obviously we all want to be next to a sound system, next to a wall.
Oh my god. Absolutely.
Experiencing that, you know.
We are though. We should remember that actually, as we are here and we are hearing Corsica Studios.
Maybe when you do the edit for this, you can add like lots of echo to everything that we're saying as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, the echo is so good. I was saying that to someone, it's so good, right? Like in music in general, like reverb and all that stuff. I don't know why, but because you can explain it whichever way you want, but the result is the same. It feels so nice when you hear it. Just yeah, that's true.
There's also so much music that like can't really be recreated in like as like a live experience, that like uses things like echo and dub and like reverb as like effects that like are just like really celebratory of like the recording process. Do you know what I
that's
mean?
the thing. That's what I was saying with Weatherall. Like, it gives you space. Literally,
Very
it's like
clear.
space.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, that's cool.
You can just imagine that like my track was kind of reverberating around my amphitheater.
Did you just say my I don't even know how to say it. Amphitheater.
Amphitheater, yeah.
My amphitheater.
Yeah.
I like that. So, is this the like silence that indicates a natural closing ceremony?
Yeah, right. Because we're going to be too long otherwise. It's going to be long.
Yeah.
Who's got the outro?
Oh yeah, who's got the outro?
Oh, it's in if you go to the shared folder.
Shared folder. I'm on it. Do you want me to read out the outro?
Yeah, Ghost Note. It's literally like 2 sentences.
Is it the Ghost Notes?
Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us, and to Corsica for hosting us.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Shout out Corsica Studio.
Yeah, shout out.
I guess you could say like, oh, you can find us at Synaptic Island, blah blah blah. Like,
say it. You're saying it now.
Yeah, because we're recording this right now. Just say it.
I'm so tired.
Okay. I don't know all the info. I'm not well equipped. It's not written there.
I know it. I've got yes. Yes. Again, thank you so much, Corsica Studios, for hosting us in this virtual space. And we've been Synaptic Island, and you can, as Poppy said at the beginning, we have a show on Resonance FM every Saturday, 3:30. Tune in, and you can drop us an email at synapticisland@gmail.com, and we're on Twitter and Instagram at Synaptic Island. And I think that's all the social media stuff. And yeah, that's it.
Bye, everyone.
Are we saying good night?
Bye.
Yeah. Good night, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.